Okay, it's Friday, June 30th at about quarter till 4 p.m. Beautiful Friday. A little windy here in Hurricane Gulch. Always a little bit of pucker factor when you're pulling out of the slip solo with 18 knot gusts. Everything went smoothly so far, so good. We're headed to the Isthmus at Two Harbors, Catalina. It's going to be a big holiday weekend leading right up to the 4th of July. But I think we're going to go to Two Harbors and try and get there before dark to put the hook down. Pretty good wind, so as soon as we get clear here, we'll get the sails up and start sailing. I think right now I'm seeing 16 knots. Okay, main is up. Fenders are in. That was pretty smooth. Now we're just going to make our way to get out of Angel's Gate before we put the head sails up, and then we'll see what kind of angle we can get to the island. Looks good so far. I think we're going to have some nice sailing. So 4:15, we're outside Angel's Gate. I'm seeing 20, 21 knots. Sometimes 22. We've got full main and just the staysail out right now, so I haven't messed with the Yankee yet. I expect it's going to settle down a little bit in reef, so we're doing okay. We're making, I don't know, maybe a little under 6 knots, so I can get a little more ambitious, roll out some head sail, drop the Traveler, and probably get us up to close to 8 knots. If I was ambitious, I kind of want to take a chill a little, get a little further away from land and just relax for a bit. Look at this. Beautiful out. Sun, maybe a little haze, but for the most part, pretty clear. Sunny sky. We are flying along. 20 knots. Probably a little quieter if I put the camera right here. So 20 knots of wind, getting a little bit of spray here and there. Love this. As expected, the wind started to die down a little bit. Now I'm seeing more like 15 knots instead of 20. We're under full canvas. Couldn't leave well enough alone. We have the now we've got the Yankee out, so the head sail and the staysail. We're down to maybe a little under 6 knots. Now we're pushing the high 6s to 7. So we'll ride this for a little while. Then I expect the wind's gonna taper off a little bit more. I talked to my buddy Bill on SV Blue Waves coming into Cat Harbor from Marina Del Rey, and he said it's been 10 knots the whole trip. So I expect it's gonna die down by the time we get across the channel here. Almost 6 p.m. and we've got 9 miles to go, so we're a little over halfway. And I'm seeing a 721 ETA at this speed, so it'll be more like 7:30 before we arrive at the anchorage, I think, something like that. Now, It's, you know, it's a good small milestone to get halfway across the channel. That's not a big deal. I just reached over 1,000 nautical miles of sailing for 2023, which is on plan for my goal. So I wanted to get at least 1,000 miles in. It's kind of my goal every year, is like a minimum. Last year and the year before that, I actually wasn't able to get those miles on keel dragger because I was down waiting for the new engine. And this year I've already exceeded it officially within the first half of the year. So I'm really stoked about that. We'll keep the pressure on it, see if we can get a few more miles in the second half of the year. So we're gonna finish with 2,000. That's the plan. This has been our ride all the way across. Look at this. It's 6:45 and we're about 3 miles out. Ship rock, bird rock, all that stuff in front of us. So we need to start thinking about hauling some sails in, getting the engine started and everything. I want to do that before I get too close to shore. So we're going to go ahead and get everything ready. We'll get the engine on, sails down, and then we'll get ready to drop the hook. All right, 7 o'clock, sails are down. Still a little lumpy out here, especially without the sails dampening our motion here. Power only now from this point on until we get in and get that hook dropped. 7:42 and we are anchored down and set. Got a couple sailboats coming in. We're in hair under 100 feet right here. No problem for keel dragger. Definitely more boats filling up in the East Basin. This will all be full. I think every mooring that's available will be taken up tomorrow. Should be good times. We'll stay here tonight. Maybe we'll go to Cat Harbor tomorrow. We'll see. Good morning. It's about 10 till 9. Didn't sleep well at all last night. A little rolly. Plus, I just didn't sleep well. But we had a decent breakfast burrito. We didn't move on the hook as I expected. So I think the plan is we're actually just going to hang at 2 harbors this weekend and screw around a little bit. So then you get the dinghy deployed, so I have a good spot to I'll take the dinghy out at, so I'll go to the island a little bit later. May go snorkeling this weekend at some point, but I also want to get the Starlink deployed, and I want to put that right where the dinghy is. So we'll get the dinghy in the water, get set up for that, so I can go to the island later and get Starlink set up so I can play stupid games with my family. Smokers. All right, here we go. here for the 4th of July, pre-4th of July. Look at how full the dinghy dock is. All right, just got back to the boat a little while ago. This is what I think's going on. I saw this boat anchored behind me, and it was a little, wasn't super close to me, but close enough. I just looked outside, and it's by this yacht that was this big sports fisher that was anchored there last night. And their anchor is down, and now I see the lifeguard heading towards them, and another dinghy. I don't know if those guys are speeding out. So I don't know if those guys are just dropping anchor or if they drug all the way out. Looks awfully odd to me. Man, it's been a busy day on the radio. Lots of people calling the Coast Guard and Towboat US non-stop. A little busy here. I think this boat in front of me is making me a little nervous. Alright, now they're making me a lot nervous because it looks like they might be anchored. They might be getting ready to pull right on top of my chain here. I don't know what the fuck these guys are doing. Must be 5 o'clock. So all the knuckleheads are honking their horn. There's bottom scratcher behind us. I feel much better about that. Holy cow.
We're back in the cove with Ivan 1.
What? All right, it's time for an episode of Cooking with Keeldragger. We've got a ribeye we're going to stick on the grill. And the only thing we need to put is just a little pinch of salt, not much. You get a good piece of steak. You don't need to screw it up with anything else. Then to go with the steak, we're going to grill some asparagus. See how it's coming along? Woo! I'll fire up in here. All right, how did we do? It's pretty cool to have the red lights on, playing Diablo. Family time, as I like to call it. 20 after 8. I got breakfast, little breakfast cooking with Keeldragger going. This sailboat went right over the reef. Heading pretty close to Bird Rock. Maybe, I don't know if it's high tide or low tide, but it's pretty shallow in there. It's not something I would do. If you actually look out, a couple kayaks here, it gets super shallow there. More fun at the mooring pickup here. Harbor Patrol heading over for the assist. So he's doing a combination of bow thruster, and he's probably got, so he's probably got twin screws backing it around. These guys are getting pushed down too. So this this boat next to them, they've got the same thing. They're not going to run that sand line back. So you can see Keeldragger out there just happily alone with plenty of space at anchor. Now you get 2 Harbor Patrol boats out here helping these 2 boats pick up. Alright, here's the next attempt. Coming in. You got the wand to pick up. Still moving forward. This guy's not picking up the wand, or he can't. Why is he not pulling the...
I think he's waiting for it to levitate out of the ocean.
Harbor Patrol is gonna
throw them a line.
Yeah, throw them a line, and they're gonna pull the stern while this guy does the slowest sand line walk. There's no question it's gonna be an absolute shit show next time I go to pick one up. We're busy here at the dinghy dock. What a shit show at the dinghy dock. This guy's taking his fair share. This is the 2 p.m. parade of dinghies. So we got one of the harbor boats there. See these boats all colored up. Flags. Blowing their horns. 4th of July Cove. Fitting for the weekend. So keel dragger, if you see these boats, not this line, but this line of boats out here, keel dragger's anchored right in the middle. Almost center harbor, in between the catamaran with the bronzish canvas and the blue striped powerboat behind it. And then this catamaran, if you see this green buoy past this yacht, and then you see a day marker, that marks the harbor reef. So there's a reef that runs in there. The catamaran is anchored right on top of it. All right, cooking with keel dragger. We're gonna make fish tacos or burritos or something. So we're gonna start with some of these Gordon's crunchy breaded fish portions, and we're gonna bake those in the Omni oven. So we've got them in the Omni oven. We'll put the lid on. We're gonna let those bake. So a few other fixings is we're gonna put some cabbage on here from this coleslaw clip. All right, a few other fixings. We're gonna put a little bit of coleslaw on with the fish, and we'll use sharp cheddar. I have some Mexican cheese, but this is already open, and then we'll put a little La Victoria on it. And I have a lime. We're gonna put a little bit of lime juice on this sucker too. Now we're gonna heat up these tortillas. Try and do this, and see if we can burn the hair off our fingers at the same time. Just throw that kind of down on an open flame. A little finesse action here. I did move the smoke detector, so we're good there. Limes are sliced. Fish is ready. It's a little warm. There's gonna be a lot of fish on this. That's okay. So we got our fish on here. Let's throw a little cabbage up in here. It's cabbage and some carrots. Green and red cabbage and some carrots all chopped up in this kit. Let's put a little bit of that on here. Now we'll put a little shredded cheese up in here. Okay. Now we'll take a lime and we're gonna squeeze a little bit of lime juice on top of our taco. We'll get a little La Victoria here. A couple of good tablespoons of La Victoria. There you go, fish taco number 1. It's Monday, about 6:30 a.m. Pretty foggy out. So the first step for me after having my coffee is decided I'm probably not going to stay here again at the Isthmus tonight. Super rolly. I didn't get any sleep last night. You can see it's Not knocking around too bad right now, but it was definitely a lot worse side to side rolling instead of pitching, which is a little bit more of what we've got right now. Not horrible, but just enough to keep you awake. So I gotta get this dinghy in. First thing I'm gonna have to do is take the outboard and get it on the mount over here. So we'll pull that in, and then we're gonna use the spinnaker halyard, and we're just gonna haul it up because this is a little heavy to van handle for one person. It's gonna be a piece of cake with the halyard though. It won't be any big deal. And we'll stick it on deck. Well, better look at all these pyrosomes. All right, let's get this dinghy up. Ah, fuck. Adios. Adios, Isthmus Cove. Better look at the harbor reef. You can see the kelp and the waves just kind of breaking there in that shallow spot.
And by this channel, as soon as we can see good in the harbor, we'll call you and come out and board your ship.
All right. Not a super great report. I can hear San Pedro traffic talking to one of the ships. Trying to organize pilot boats to come out, and they're like, yeah, it's visibility's no good in the harbor. So there, these look like rissos. They look a little bigger than common dolphins. Yeah, rissos dolphins. Right on. All right, it's almost 8:30. We've got 11.9 nautical miles to Angel's Gate. Have the Avalon Express passing us to port, and an ETA to the gate of about just a little bit before 10:30. 9 o'clock, crossing the shipping lane. So we're just going across the southbound lane right now. No ships of concern on AIS. There's one ship headed northbound. They're not of concern. I don't see anything coming at us from any other direction at this point. So fingers crossed we'll get into San Pedro without any traffic. 20 after 9. Spoke a little too soon. We've got the Polar Adventure outbound from Long Beach. So we took a hard turn to starboard. We're in the buffer zone in the shipping lanes, and he's northbound. So we're gonna go ahead, and rather than cut in front of him a mile or so, we are just gonna plan for a port to port. This other boat is I believe it's a recreational vessel. It's a Polar Adventure, about 2 3/4 miles out. To give you an idea of visibility. Got another boat gonna cross our bow, and then there's another pleasure craft coming towards us. Polar Adventure at a mile out, crossing the stern here shortly. Looks like we'll be okay on Viz coming in. Kind of fog's closed in here at PV, but I can see the LA Lighthouse here at Angel's Gate. That's a little less than 3 miles. So it looks like the harbor is good. So as long as that doesn't close in on us in the next 45 minutes, I think we will be clear back to the slip.
If you're heading outside of the break wall, over.
Good morning. No, we are not. We'll be coming to port and heading to Long Beach.
Sir Winston, Coast Guard Cutter Robert Ward. Roger, you're staying inside the break wall. Out.
Coast Guard Cutter Robert Ward was calling the Sir Winston, a passenger vessel, see if he was going to come out of LA Harbor here out by the break wall, since he's inbound as well. So we will be cutting in behind the Coast Guard Cutter.